Ooh, we did it. We did it. Okay, so if you are watching this as a replay, I'm going to begin the first little while, waiting for people to be notified on YouTube to show up. So that's going to be about 20 minutes or so. There'll be a link to skip ahead. Any of you who are here now, let's chat. We're going to have a discussion today about how to turn your weaknesses into your strengths. So, what I'm going to talk about is probably one of my number one weaknesses and how I turned it into a massive strength in my life. I'm going to ask you a few questions to see if you may also have this weakness. If you do, in my opinion, you're in luck. Okay? And we're going to talk about what makes one trait a weakness and one trait a strength, right? Because there are people who said things like, introversion is a weakness. We know now that it's not, especially in this day and age, right? So, yeah, we're going to talk about that and, how to turn those weaknesses into strengths. And we're going to get started in about 15 to 20 minutes. Just a warning, this is kind of practicing here for me. Lives, the technical stuff has not gone well for me in the past. We are outside here in my neighborhood here in Mexico. The neighbors could randomly have a fiesta. They have done that on Sundays. We have multiple dogs here that love to start barking for no godforsaken reason. Okay. So, we're going to see what happens, how this goes, and this is going to be a good talk. I have a lot to say about it. I've got where's the microphone? Clinkety clink. Some ice cubes. I wish I could tell you that this was mineral water with electrolytes and Himalayan salt. It's Diet Dr. Pepper and ice cubes, all right? It's delicious. I highly recommend it. It's Caffeina. It's keeping me going these days. All right. Let's do a little bit of makeup. This is the only time or unless you book a video call with me or you meet me in person. This is basically the only time y'all gonna get to see me without a filter. I love those filters. Come on. All right. I see more people coming in here. Let me see if I can access the chat. I'm still learning how to figure all this out. Go ahead and leave a comment. We're waiting for people to be notified here on YouTube so everyone can drop in and catch this awesome topic. I have a lot to say on it. How have you all been doing? Would you say you're someone who's aware of your strengths and weaknesses? Woo. This is kind of a cute color. And then we're going to put a bit of lipstick and a little bit of blush. And what time are we at? 12:52. Okay, we're going to get started in about 10 minutes. Whoa, looks really bright. I feel like I'm mostly happy with that. Guys, it's 34 degrees here today. Not right now. Oh, I forgot my little dabbing hanky. If I get too hot, I'm leaving. I am leaving. Yes, indeed. I'll say everything I have to say really, really quickly, and then we're dipping out. But of course, I gotta put on some blush. I gotta put on that blush. Oh, cute. Cute. Y'all know that one time I was at this like personal development seminar. So like people were in this mood to like share things, you know, and just like being open and whatever. And this guy came up to me. I don't know why men are so obsessed with telling women about makeup. Like, are you all makeup experts? Are y'all women's fashion and clothing experts? This guy comes up to me. I think we were supposed to like, I don't know, we were supposed to just talk randomly to strangers or something, walk around. He comes up to me, he's like, there's lots of women in here that have way too much makeup. And I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, like, I don't know why they can't have like a nice, like natural look, kind of like you. And I was like, should I take this moment? I did take that moment. I was like, well, I appreciate the compliment, but you need to know that I am probably the woman in here with the most amount of makeup on my face. And he's like, what? And he's like, no, no, no. And I'm like, yes. And I think I took like a Kleenex and I'm like, look. Right? I think the trick is like, you know, to know what colors work for you and to try and go for a natural look. Oh my God, some fucking drama down there. Oh boy. I don't know if you... What the hell? I don't know if any of you speak Spanish. If I have some of my Spanish friends here, you know what this lady's talking about. It sounds very dramatic. Okay, anyway. So yeah, I was like, well, yeah. I think what men mean when they say that is, you know, they don't want, you know, red lipstick and blue eyeshadow, but if you don't like it, just leave people who look like that alone. Don't go around complaining about women's makeup. You know what I mean? You want to see what people look like without makeup? Go look at my second channel. You think I like a natural look on women? Okay, go check my second channel and see if you like it. All right. So we're at 12:56. How are people doing? Let's get the clink clink. I love this sound. Oh my God, she's in the house yelling. Honestly, I'm used to hearing people yell and scream like this all the time. I don't know how you live your life like this. People used to live like this when I was a kid. The neighbors are always bitching in the morning, complaining, some big drama, this, that, and the other. My family, big bad, this, that, and the other. Right? When you're not on your path in life, when you're not being authentic, when you're living in ways that don't work for you, everything is a big drama and a yelling and a screaming, right? Right? This is not common. I've been here for a few months, but yeah, I've heard a lot of yelling since I moved here. Yelling and screaming. What a lovely breeze. I tried to film this in horizontal. YouTube advised against it, so we're doing this for now. Please go ahead, click the like button, leave some comments, talk about where you're tuning in from today, how your autumn season is going. Things here have been a little bit different, you know, every year in Mexico. I wish I had just put some headphones in. Next time I'll put headphones in when I come out here. Good Lord. Every year it has been a bit hotter than the next. The winter, the cold season has been a bit shorter. And yeah. I am gonna make sure that my battery doesn't run out. I hope you guys can hear it. This woman is out of control. I'm not saying anything else that I'm thinking right now. Okay. So today we're talking about turning your weaknesses into strengths. And at the beginning of this, I was like, okay, we're going to wait till people come in, but here's what we're talking about today. So we're going to talk about how to turn your biggest weaknesses into strengths. In the public school system, we learn the opposite of this. We learn the things that you are bad at. You need to work really, really hard at them. You need to be frustrated, and you need to, like, you know, struggle through the mud with them for eternity, right? I believe, and then when we become adults, we find a lot of areas in our life where, you know, these things never, they never end. We're constantly struggling in certain ways in our lives. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about what makes something a weakness and what makes it a strength. Okay? And we're going to talk about signs that you may have my biggest weakness. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now what my biggest weakness is. Okay, let me start with a story that will illustrate my biggest weakness that I've had since I was a kid. So yeah, I was a little tomboy. I was always, you know, running around with guys. Actually, I had a really good group of girlfriends too. They were tomboys as well. So it was kind of like, yeah, a little bit of both. And one day, you know, I was outside. This is, you know, when kids, we used to play just outside all the time, right? And one of my brothers and his friend comes over to me out of nowhere, you know, and it's like -15, -20, snow on the ground, everything. And maybe I was building a snowman or something. And they're like, hey, Adelle, bet you can't do this. And so they go and they show me that there is a snow angel on the ground. And I'm like, oh yeah, watch this. And I made the biggest, best looking snow angel you'd ever seen. And what did they do when they had me like that? Well, they did what's called face washing in Canada, where you take like a bunch of snow and you just put it all over in someone's face and rub it all in. It's a very unpleasant experience, okay? And they were like, ha ha ha, they were laughing, and then they ran off, and I was like, and then actually they didn't directly run off. They're like, haha, we knew you were gonna do that. We knew you were gonna do that. So in truth, competitiveness has always been one of my weaknesses when I was younger. And I've turned it into a strength in my life. Many entrepreneurs, self-employed people, people who go for something different in life are very competitive. Luckily for me, I've been really, really competitive with myself. I haven't had a problem with jealousy in my life. I was always like inspired by people who were better than me because I respected their competency. And I wanted to learn from them. But there have been times when I feel that my competitiveness was a weakness. And that was one example. You know, just an endless jump to a challenge without thinking like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And another way, so if we think about how we know something is a weakness instead of a strength, that is one of them, right? What do I got written here? I wrote, yeah, it has a negative impact on your relationships. That's another one. Now, we know that people who are competitive, they're usually people who are really naturally good at things, right? They're, you know, like, The reason why they had to dunk on me every once in a while like that was because like I was awesome. I beat them at a lot of things, even physical things, which blows my mind because like I was like weak, but I was like in my mind I was so insane and I was like so driven to like win everything. I would still like win a lot of stuff. So they used to look for an opportunity to kind of get me down and then boom, like hit me some way, you know, as a joke, right? Okay, fine. Unfortunately, that continued into my adult years, affecting my dating life greatly, and the people that I choose for friends as males, it affects that greatly as well. Okay? I need people who also want to win, who aren't out here, you know, doing the bare minimum and looking to bring other people down. So when we think about relationships, we need to consider the kind of relationships that you want in your life. Not that it's having a negative effect on the majority of people, right? Because we know that many normal, average people, they have tall poppy syndrome. They see someone special, they want to cut them down. They use passive aggression to try to put people in their place. Most people are threatened by greatness in others, unless it's someone who the media says is okay. Oh, we can go worship Michael Jordan. Yeah, we can. Oh, wow, look at Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. But if your friend starts a business, you're going to criticize them. Are you going to support them? No, you buy stuff from Walmart. Do you know what I mean? So the people who support your greatness, if things about you are infringing on your relationships with them, that's when you kind of have to step back. Or like the people, like, so an example of this for me, and as I say, I feel I've really kind of conquered this long ago in my life, because I saw that it would sometimes hurt my friends. And again, like, I don't think my competitiveness was a problem for me, like beyond junior high school. It's only really been a strength because I saw how it could hurt people sometimes. Because one thing that comes with competitiveness is very high standards. So, you know, my high standards are for myself, but they're also for the people around me. And sometimes I would like be very disappointed in somebody, and like I might tell them that, or they might see that I was disappointed, and I could tell that they were like really hurt by that. And I would think about it, and I'm like, well, I think this person really did try their very best. Maybe I shouldn't have had these expectations of them, and I should just appreciate them for what things they can bring to our friendship. And so, yeah, I learned to stop. I had a boss in my 20s with a German accent, and I would, you know, like her and I would talk business, and I would give her some personal advice, and I would complain about stuff in business that I was struggling with and how I had to try to manage other people. That's not a good job for me, by the way, managing people. And she was like, Adele, not everybody can be you. So she's like, you can't hold people to the same standard. You can't expect people to care about something so much, you know, as you do, right? Because like, you know, at that point, like my mother had recently died, and I didn't know how to deal with things, and I really became a workaholic, and I expected other people to be workaholics too. This doesn't work like that, right? And I know there's many ways that I know that I have kind of kicked that side of me, but I feel it come up every once in a while. Like, oh gosh, this was about a year and a half ago. Here in Mexico, I was walking in my old neighborhood, and I saw this kid playing basketball on a court by himself. Now, am I any good at that? No. Do I have any sports ability? No. But I was like lonely and a little bit bored, and I felt sorry for this kid, you know, kind of chubby kid, whatever. So I went over there, and I think as I walked over, the ball like rolled over to me, so I grabbed it, I threw it back to him, and so he and I were playing. We each take turns shooting hoops on this basketball court. And at one point, the ball got stuck in the net, and we couldn't get it down, right? And so like, I tried to like tell the kid like, jump on my back. I didn't speak much Spanish, but I was like pointing, and he's like, no, which was a good idea looking back. And so I was like, okay, just wait, right? I ran home, and I went and got a broom handle, And I came back and he saw me. He's like, yeah. And I was like so excited. I was like, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to go and bop that basketball out of the net. You know, I was really excited for that. And in that moment that I was walking over there, I could feel how excited and triumphant I was. But I thought, you know what? So I just handed it to this kid instead. And I just saw, he's like, yeah, you know, his eyes just light up and he went over and got it out. And I was like, yeah, you know, we high-fived after that. But in that moment, I was like, yeah. And I kind of realized, well, this is like a little, you know, win I can give to a kid. You know, let him be the hero and let him feel good, whatever, right? It was pretty cute, funny. Anyway, so, and another way that we know that something our trait might be a weakness is if we have imbalance or excessiveness, if we have limited flexibility, and if it hinders our growth, right? When you look back on the mistakes you've made in your life, and you look back on ways that, you know, the things that you did wrong, and you see that this trend is coming up over and over again, right? For me, that was people pleasing. I managed to turn that into a strength as well, but I still have to manage that. That's one that I still wrestle with. People pleasing can be an excellent weakness if you are in a well-paid helping position. Okay? So if you, like, even for me, like when I do events or retreats, because I have this ability to like really understand what would make people really happy, what would make them very satisfied, I pay attention to all the little details because I want people to have a great experience. That's where my people pleasing benefits me. And people are always like, wow, you got this perfect, or oh, this is like the perfect place, or this is the perfect, you know, like just little details. And I'm like really happy about stuff like that, right? What else? Aha, you can know something is a weakness and not a strength if it causes unnecessary strength or conflict. Okay? Welcome to the new people joining in. Go ahead and hit the like button, leave a comment, what you're tuning in from, what's going on for you today. All right. So like, some people, I feel like, was my introversion a weakness when I was a kid? I don't think so. I don't think so, because it really allowed me to become very good at observing people, of developing an inner monologue that many people these days don't have. You know, I learned to develop curiosity about other people because I was watching and I was thinking things. That's another thing a lot of people don't have. And also, there's that competitiveness. And also, reading. You know, being introverted really drove me to reading, and my love for books, writing, this has become the main purpose. My love for stories has become the thing that's getting me through life in general. And I love that. All right. So that's kind of how you can kind of know whether something is a weakness or a strength. Yeah, so when you, oh man, these birds are so cute. I wish I could show you, but I am really scared to mess with this camera. Anyway, maybe I'll show you guys. You know what? I think the connection for my live is quite good, so I can probably do this again in the future. Okay. So I feel like when you learn to turn your weaknesses into strengths, it's an alchemy that can just propel you through life with ease. And I didn't really realize that. I also didn't realize I had done that. Oh no, I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry. Yeah, I had, one time I was out for lunch with a friend of mine. He was in his 70s and he was a great businessman. I had met him at a course I had attended, an ongoing seminar course kind of thing for professional speaking skills for entrepreneurs. He was one of the instructors. Yeah, but it turns out we were like-minded in some ways. So we used to go for lunch every once in a while and catch up. And one day he was like, how come you always get, or I don't know if he said how come, or he's like, oh my God, you always get everything you want. And I was like, what? And that had not been the first time I heard that. That's probably like, my old roommate, I lived with her for a couple of years. She said that to me once. And I think that was like the second time I heard that. And I was like, what? And then I kind of realized it, right? Because it was because certain things just came naturally to me, because I would kind of, because of my competitiveness, I was drawn towards things that I was good at over and over again. And, you know, there's like, you can think of like if people went into the woods and there was a competition to like go and fall a tree. Okay, I used to work in forestry. Let's go with that. Get a tree out onto the ground. You're going to have some people that are going to run around in circles yelling and screaming at the tree. You're going to have some people that are going to grab a butcher knife or a butter knife and sit there and hack away at the tree. You're going to have people who someone will come and hand them a chainsaw and they're going to say, no, God will provide. And they'll sit there praying at the foot of the tree the way they learned in church for years, right? There's going to be some people who are going to walk into those woods and they're going to think about things, and they're going to look at things, and they're going to walk over to the right tree, give it a push, it's going to fall over, and that's going to be the end of it, right? And people are going to go, wow, you always get what you want. It's just like, if you kind of know that you're lazy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding. I knew that I was lazy, right? I have a medical, a emotional, and a spiritual reason for being lazy. But guess what? I use that to my advantage as well. And you can too, right? You need to look at who you are. You need to be honest with yourself and find a life that works for you, so you don't run around yelling and screaming at people, popping off about every little thing. Anyway, what else have I got here? So let's talk about, okay, serve to side. So here's some signs that you might also be competitive. Some of you know, and some of you might not know. You know, I wouldn't have described myself as competitive, because in my mind, that's someone who like looks at someone else and is like, oh, I need to be better than them. And I was like, never really specifically like that. Like, I was always just very competitive with myself. And I love the high of winning. And so people ask me like, Adelle, with your background, how come you never got involved in drugs and alcohol? How come you're not in jail, whatever? I'm like, because the high of winning was good enough for me. And the winning was like whatever goals I set for myself, whatever things I wanted to accomplish. And sometimes I set them low, sometimes I set them high. I learned that I could set small goals for myself to get myself out of depression. So I get a huge high when I complete a massive or difficult goal, such as finishing an ebook, booking clients, completing retreats, finishing a website, uploading videos. But I get, you know, a boost of oxytocin and dopamine when I check things off of a small list. Now, it's even things like cleaning a certain room, right? Sometimes I get overwhelmed with things. Like, I don't know about you all, but like, there's only so many plates I can keep spinning at once, guys. Life has become, I feel like we're going through a time where things are a little bit difficult. We really have to kind of buckle down. But yeah, you know, my house is not dirty, but there are places that are messy. Okay? And I don't like it. but there's other priorities for me. And I was like, if I can just let that go, then I can focus on other things. And if I set small little goals with it, then I can get, a boost from that. And that's good enough for me. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Okay. So, you know what I like using to get cleaning done? Body doubling videos. Have you guys heard of or seen those? Where it's like for ADHD and it's like someone like, let's clean together. So you just put the video on and you can see someone else doing it. That's how you can overcome procrastination, by the way, is imagining yourself doing something that you want to do. Just think about it often, and then randomly you'll find yourself doing it, and it'll become easier and easier. It's something that it trains your subconscious mind to accept it. And once your subconscious mind has accepted any reality, you will see it actualized in your life. Not before then. That's why I had to watch years of YouTube videos of people making money, living in countries that they wanted to, whatever, before it finally just clicked. Like, I could do that. All right. Let's see. So here's a small sign that you might be competitive. Number one, you like to turn small tasks into challenges. Looking back, I remember people. The first thing I tried was I used to try to trick my little brothers, right? I used to be like, let's see who can clean this room. I'll give each of you a room and let's see who can clean it the fastest. And I literally think it worked once. And then after that, they're like, you were just doing this to get us to clean up. And I was like, okay, the jig is up. The jig is up. I tried. But I was conditioned to be competitive as a kid looking back. The teacher had this very specific thing that I remember. And we each had to draw and cut out and make our little horse. And she had a racetrack on the wall, okay? Oh shit, there's a giant bee. Okay, it's gone. And she had a racetrack on the wall. And everybody pinned up their horse. Well, you know what? Oh my God. I need to make one of those for myself now with goals. Oh, I'm making it. I'm making it today. Maybe I'll make a live video of me making it. You want to make one together for yourself. And oh my God, that's so exciting. Okay, so there you go. So anyway, and it was there were certain goals. And if you read, I think it was 2 books or 5 books or something. As soon as I saw it was about reading books, I was like, I got this. All of this is mine, right? You would get a prize. You get to pick from a bigger and bigger drawer of prizes. And it was so cute. Looking back, these little, oh my God, I can do something like that for myself. All these little trinkety things that I see that I want. And I'm like, that's your inner child who wants that glittering pony journal. You're not buying that. You're not going to ever use it. Maybe first go to the dollar store and buy a bunch of little cute things that I really want and I'll never use at the dollar store. Those, what are those called? Those things that you crack, glow sticks. I love stuff that glows at night because I like to hang out at night, okay? Your girl is a vampire. I like to walk around at night. I like it. So sometimes I see those little glow sticks and I want to have a glow stick when I go out at night. And they had some that are pink and a heart. And I'm like, what are you going to do with that? Just carry it? What are you going to do? Put it on as a necklace? I don't know. I just wanted it. So maybe I could buy myself some little trinkety toys, put them into something, forget about it, and allow myself to pick something from there. Maybe a year later, every time I complete one of my little goals. Or another thing I like doing is gifting myself money. I can put a bunch of envelopes and put different amounts of money in and allow myself to pick something if I hit my goals. Why not? Even though it's my own money, it's exciting. This is how we make our lives exciting. This is how we gamify our lives. Why not? Anyways, so yeah. that little thing with the horses that you get to move every time you read the books as a kid. Ooh, that got me going. So yeah, and another thing like about turning tasks into challenges. So I worked in commission sales for a damn long time. When I was 14 years old, I used to sell chocolate bars door to door. And of course I wanted that money, but I also wanted to be the best salesperson. So like I would run, I would like knock on doors, I would like, you know, try to be as charming as possible. These chocolate bars, y'all, they were like some ridiculous thing. I swear it was like 3 chocolate bars for $20, but they were like this weird kind that, you know, we didn't see around. There were chocolate bars that had different fillings like strawberry, banana, orange. I think there was coffee and mint fillings. You know, that would be a great business idea again today. Like people love to buy, impulse buy unique things. So yeah, anyway, when I used to work in stores with people, like when I worked at Shoppers Drug Mart, I used to tell my fellow coworker some days, I'd be like, okay, let's see who can sell this. And I would just pick like some item that like nobody ever bought. So sometimes there were these like muslin wax strips, okay? Nobody ever bought those. And so we like had to read it, figure out what it was for, try to think who he could sell it to, and then yeah. And there was no prize. It was just the bragging rights. That's it. And if they sold it, I'd be super happy too, you know? I'm like, oh my God, you're awesome. Like, good job, you know? Okay, another one is that you take games seriously. Whether it's like playing sports, if you're sitting there, if you're someone who watches sports, click away. Click away. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who play sports, who play games, play board games, play video games. If you're like really competitive, and you know, like looking back, it makes me laugh because I've been competitive at board games like my whole life. And but like, you know, I never, if it makes someone sad to lose, like I didn't want to see them lose, you know. But I was always like a little bit of a sore loser. But of course, I turned it into a joke, right? Like if you beat me at a board game, and you were like cheering after, I'd be like, I would make up spontaneous rules. I'd be like, no cheering after you win. So now you just lost 50 points and I won. Yes. Right? So it would like make people laugh. I hope it taught them how to, you know, disregard ridiculous rules, which may have come in handy in the past couple of years. But they'd be like, you cheered too. And I'm like, no, this rule applies only to people in white shirts. Yes. Right? All right. Let's see where we're at. Great. Okay, so next, if someone, yeah, so yeah, those are some signs that you may also be competitive. Yeah, I absolutely love this. You know, I think people are tired. They're tired of being told by the self-improvement industry for so long that like there's all these problems with you and you've got to fix them. My eyes are crossing underneath the sunglasses when I say that. You've got to fix those problems. You're gonna buy all these products and fix your problems, right? I really wish that we had all been raised in environments kind of like the X-Men, where it's like they find out your superpowers and they send you away to a camp to build up your powers, your superpowers, with other people who have superpowers, so you can all work on leveling each other up. Maybe I'll make something like that in the future. That would be ideal for me. I would love to have like a camp for like creators, like beginning creators, you know, to like, maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna head out soon. Anyone have any comments, any questions? I hope I'm doing this right. I'm not 100% sure. You know, I've had this channel for 12 years. I haven't been a big on lives, but I want to get back into this. I think it's kind of a great way to connect with people, build my channel back up, and everything else. So, all right. Thanks so much if you tuned in today. I'm going to re-upload this. If you came in halfway, whatever, it will be uploaded later so you can watch the whole thing back. And until I see you again, take care.